Welcome to the Kai Greene Effect.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Kizzy K, with the AKA Mr. Getting It Done. Wishing you a wonderful day. It's all good. This is the Kai Greene Effect, and I'm here with Generation Iron, your boy, Vlad Uden. We're going to do something really awesome today. We're gonna have a little bit of a conversation. Ain't that right, Vlad?
Oh, yes, sir. The last episode, Ruffles and Feathers, man, a lot of people were debating in the comments about your comeback scenario with Phil and everything else. So people were really, they had a lot of emotions about it.
Really? What? Well, I mean, what? What does that mean, V? What does that mean?
Well, some were agreeing with you, some were disagreeing with you. Some said, maybe it's time to let it go and not compete anymore. So it was a mixture of emotions, I guess.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, I mean, everyone is entitled to their opinion and their point of view. I'm just glad they even cared to share it with us. Putting it in the comments so somebody can read it.
I agree with you. That's what matters. You know what I mean? It matters that people care. That's what really matters. All right, Kai, we got a lot of things to talk about today, right?
Let's do it.
But you want to do a lightning round of questions first? What people want to hear from you?
You know what? I would love to do a lightning round. Glad. Let's do it. Hopefully, you won't ask me anything too scary.
Well, you can always say I want to skip that question or I choose not to answer, right? You can. It's up to you, Kai. It's your show, man.
You know what? So I like drink champs for a second. Maybe not, because we don't drink.
Do you ever watch Drink Champs on YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Who hasn't? I mean, they've had some very awesome guests. I'd like to be an awesome guest.
Yeah, man. All right, let's take it to the first questions. This one is from Brandon Perkins 176. Hey Kai, have you ever thought about creating your own bodybuilding venue like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jay Cutler, Lee Haney, or Phil Heath? Glad I met you in person back in 2017. Keep up the good work. So he's referring to having your own like Kai Greene Classic, basically. I think you actually had one at one point.
Yeah. We actually ran a very successful Kai Greene Classic. Friend of mine, Gene, my man, out there in man, we did an awesome show. I think for a couple years. It was actually really, really inspirational to me because I'd never thought about being able to see myself realize such a valuable work and a lot of effort to actually throw your own show, lend your name and attract resources that would provide a platform for other people to stand on and actually, see some of their own dreams come true. I think it's a very interesting thing to do. Of course, to answer the question, yeah, I loved it. I love the idea of it. And I would definitely be open to explore something like that. Yeah. I would really like to even have a hand in some of the judging or some of the routine and maybe even come up with a criteria that would be used to select, some really entertaining routines worth being awarded.
I agree with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
A lot of bodybuilders have that these days, like they mentioned Branch, Lee Haney, a lot of people have that.
It's something worthy because what it does is it improves the show quality. I think it gives the athletes a lot more to work for, and it opens up a new conversation of how you can develop your own vision to show your physique and how you develop your own ability to present that vision in a way that makes sense practically on stage.
Yes, sir. I agree with you. All right, let's go to the next one. This one you might not want to answer. I'm not sure, but I guess we'll keep it transparent with the people, right? So this one is from Eric Sanchez Figure 9860. So he's asking here, do you think that you have something to win in bodybuilding? I'm assuming he means something more to win in bodybuilding.
So that's a good question. Really good question. Do you think you have something more to win in bodybuilding? Um, I once heard Lee Labrada give an interview just before being announced as the next competitor to take the stage at the Olympia so many years ago. And I remember one thing that he said in this interview that always kind of stuck with me. He said that as he prepared for every show in his life, in his career, he said he emerged on the other side of that preparation with new insights into himself. Now, he didn't say it exactly the way I'm saying it, but I'm Kai Greene. I got to paraphrase just a little.
Yeah.
But what I took away from that was that, there is opportunity offered you, or certainly I found there was so much opportunity offered to me when I prepared to get ready to compete. I mean, there's always the traditional stuff that you have to think about, but on the other side of that process of preparation, you know, I felt like you do emerge with some new insights into yourself. How you critically thought to solve problems that came up and that would sometimes arise when you think about putting together a day of consistent effort and action that would, eat on time, train on time, walk through your day with the same kind of mathematic certainty that you would need in order to feel as if this was a day of success
Mhm.
versus a day where there's a whole bunch of excuses and reasons why you didn't complete your assignments that ultimately are going to be responsible for helping you get there and do the work that you want to do. So yeah, there is always something to win, I think. They say when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. Every time I think I found myself ready to work to realize the new thing that was going to be helpful in my process of development. Um, it was not a surprise to discover on the other side of the work that yes, there was a reward there.
Mhm.
I think with saying that, yeah, every time you get ready to compete, there is something to learn. And with those lessons, there's something, to win. Um, so yeah, there are things to win. It may not necessarily be a trophy.
Right,
It
right.
may not be the title as
Yeah.
much as the new insights, I think,
Mhm.
into the discovery of who you are and what that will mean with these new accomplishments to your credit. I think the personal discovery is there with each time you prepare.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Last question here. This one is this one's kind of funny. I don't know. It's Troy Jim 9 asking, "Hey Kai, have you ever gotten on a eating binge? What's the most you have eaten in one sitting? Dexter Jackson said you have ran up a $150 bill at IHOP just for yourself. Is that true?" I saw that video of Dexter Jackson saying that he's seen you eat $150 worth of food at IHOP back in years ago, which was difficult to do at that time. Now probably easy, but back then, just for yourself.
Nobody can I eat Kai Greene. I think he went to like IHOP and ate about $150 worth of food by himself.
yeah, shout out to Dexter Jackson. A great question. We eat, and then there are things that we do when we do that process thing, whether you're on season, off season, you
Right.
know, there are things that you do with your energy expenditure and stuff, and part of your processes that will spike your caloric needs and maybe burn up a hell of a lot more than you can, at another time in your life even imagine that you can use.
Right.
I've been training now for the better part of a few years. And I learned earlier in my career though that the best growers or the best athletes in my sport were the best eaters. A lot of times you'll meet someone and they'll tell you, "Oh man, could you write out a diet for me?" Or, "Hey, can you put together my eating
Right.
strategy? Because I want to bulk up or I want
Right.
to put on some more muscle and I want to fill in the blank." And the best piece of wisdom I can say is what's one of the things that I learned when I was a teenager. Learn how to get out of your own way. I ate with the expectation of defining myself as the best eater. So that meant that once I identified what my goals were, if the goal here was to actually put on more size, then I need more calories.
Right.
A lot of times when you tell that to someone, hey man, you're going to need to eat more calories, the first thing they'll say back to you is, oh, I eat a lot.
Hmm.
Or I can't eat because fill in the blank. At
Right.
work, my job, my parents or my family wouldn't support it. I just can't afford to eat more calories. And it's like, well, then why even ask the question? So if I need to eat more calories, then the first thing out of my mouth with eating more calories is, how do I get more calories in my mouth? Even when it came contest time, getting on a diet and getting ready for stage, being the best eater meant that I don't have to start my diet over and over again because I keep falling off the wagon, lacking the ability to control myself. It's only inevitable that at another time in my life, when it came time to eat and eat heartily after an accomplishment like winning a show or needing to spike my calories in a major way to kind of move the needle in the direction that I wanted to go most, I could do it. And it wasn't as challenging or as difficult a lot of times as we would imagine it to be when we don't have that practice.
Well, that was our lightning round of questions brought to us by Pro M. Pittsburgh Pro is coming up in a few weeks. There were some updates. These days, I know you didn't do it back in the day, but these days, athletes, they post progress updates. Nick Walker, I don't know if you got a chance to see it. I'm sure you did, but Nick Walker posted some updates. And Michael Kriszo from Europe posted an update. They both look, wow, they both look out of this world, very muscular, already very dense. I wanted to get your opinion on both of those gentlemen, specifically, and see what physique are you leaning towards in this situation.
Oh wow! Well, it's a very interesting question. When I was a teenager coming up, I remember one of the things that happened for me is when I looked in the magazines and I saw these athletes that looked amazing. Each one of them, if you asked me, had something that I wished that I could have and possibly, could develop for myself. If I got that chance, would I want to do it? Absolutely. A lot of times it wasn't all wrapped up in just one physique. I'm sure there are plenty of people that have probably looked in the old magazines and saw like, I want the chest of Arnold with the muscular separation of Franco Columbu. And technically I'm not a very tall guy, so Franco Columbu came up a lot as a champion for me when I was a kid. And I mean, tons of other bodybuilders. But I'll say this: um, these photos that you're talking about, if we were to talk about Michael first, technically, this dude looks like next level X-Men, Marvel movie
He
studios
does. Oh my
mutant
God.
of
Like a mutant, yeah.
Mutant is the most fitting word I could imagine.
Right.
First of all, the guy's taller than I am, right? And just an ungodly amount of muscle that looks like an anatomy chart. It looks like all the damn time. It's like it's very hard to find a photo of Mr. Kriszo with no. Well, I'm sorry. It looks like he left his skin at home.
Yeah.
So um, yeah, there's a part of me that sometimes imagines that there's some muscular proportions that might just be even outside of the realm of possibility for even yourself. Like when I was a kid, I aspired to be big and huge, and then there was probably never a time when you thought, well, that's too big. I want to be huge, and then you know I look at pictures of Mike now, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I ever wanted to be that big. Um, funny thing though, he went and turned pro in a very interesting way here in our organization.
Yeah.
He's got some mileage on him. He actually comes from another organization and is,
Yeah.
fighting the good fight, I would imagine. This is going to be a big show for him, even though he's actually won another couple pro shows to his credit.
He won like when he was in a different organization, the IBB Europe or whatever. He won like everything there is to win, and then he moved to the NPC first, and then he had to get a pro card from scratch. Basically, it's a crazy story if you think about it.
Sure enough, and the spotlight is going to be on him, and this is going to be I think this is a really good time for him and his star. You know, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Even his calves, his leg separation from the front. I mean, like,
Yeah.
anatomy chart material all day, and still a relatively small waist. I like a lot of the photos we get a chance to see of him online that are never, never photoshopped. I mean, just the raw shots of him are just really, really, really impressive. I think I've only gotten a chance to meet him once, if that.
Oh, really? Have you met Nick Walker before?
Now, I'm gonna tell you a funny story because I ain't even get to Nick Walker. I'm just talking about Mr. Kriszo because I want to be, fair. But then I gotta be, I gotta say this. So I'm guest posing, right? And this is like maybe a good, like, more than 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I'm traveling. My career is like really doing well at the time. I show up and people seem to know who I am and anticipate that I was going to be there even before I show up. And um, I feel like there's a lot of responsibility with that. But anyway, I get up there, I guest pose. While I get finished guest posing, I'm coming to the back, and there's like people backstage, and I might have to stop and take a picture with someone and someone else, and the other athletes that are competing, and they're like amateurs, inspired and aspiring. And it's like, okay, hey, stop here, take a picture with a woman. Okay, hey, stop there, take a picture with someone else. Hey, stop here, take a picture with this baby-faced little dude that's like, his mom was there. And it was like, okay, well, hey, man, good luck, be encouraged. You have this little moment.
Right.
But it is like, it's a moment and it happens so quickly. And then so many years later, if somebody were to stop you and say, hey man, do you remember this? You'd probably be like, well, sure, sure. And then they show you a photo.
And
And
it's
the
Nick.
photo of them, hey man, I was back at the show, I took this photo with you. And it's like, wow, this little guy is great. He's like, all right, little man, fast forward, this little man has morphed into one of the most awe-inspiring uh, physiques in the modern day of our sport right now.
Yeah.
There's so much to be said about the story and energy that Nick Walker brings to the stage, to the conversation right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
It is humbling. As much as we can say your thoughts become things, or there's always this limitless possibility that is in the distance in front of you, whether you choose to be an optimist or not. I think it is just always unsettling sometimes to realize just how real that is. Sometimes you can be caught up in your own responsibilities and magic of your own moment that a lot of times you don't even know or realize who it is that you are in front of or who's giving you a moment. There's a part of me that feels, just because I have the humbling experience of having been backstage, at one of these, shows we were guest posing at, and to see like a baby warrior. You know what I mean? I mean, just
Sure.
to see a baby warrior, like before, they put on all the armor and learn how to use all of their tactical equipment and but in that moment that they stop and take that photo with you, it's almost as if their energy is saying, yo, man, watch me. Just watch me, and I can't
Incredible.
take no credit for it. I can't say it was because of anything that I had to do, but I am in awe and humbled, by just having the opportunity to even talk about that experience. I see it from this side of it. And yeah, I'm biased, man. I'm biased.
Do you want to make a prediction without? Don't be politically correct. Who do you think is gonna? Don't be politically correct.
Yes.
Without being biased or unbiased. Who do you predict is gonna win the Pittsburgh Pro? Just one person.
Okay, you ready for it?
I am.
This is it. We might even need a drum roll on this one,
Special effects.
All right. The man that is going to win the Pittsburgh Pro this year, 2025, is the man that wants it most.
Come on, Kai.
I'm saying it. It's for
Come
real.
on, man.
Check me on that. Check me on that. Hey, I'm going to be honest. There are people that might say, hey, man, I really, really want this. I want it so bad. And the stats on paper say, yep, you know what, this guy, I don't know if you know, but I know. I was in the trenches. I was getting ready for something called the Arnold Classic one year. And it was the first time that I got a chance to get to the Arnold Classic after, for 2 years, I wrote, hey, how you doing? My name is Kai Greene. I turned pro. I'd love to be it. Couldn't get an invite. I couldn't get a return call or nothing. Not a nothing. Nada. Fast forward, I get a chance to go and I place third. I place third behind two guys that are within the next 3 years are going to become Mr. Olympia.
That's amazing.
So now I had to go back. I got ready to go to my first Arnold Classic where I wanted to win. I believed I could do it. And it was like the only reason why the other two guys that were eventually going to become Mr. Olympia didn't go into that Arnold Classic was because the one guy that had already fought Mr. Olympia and was now declared an uncrowned Mr. Olympia was going to come into the Arnold Classic that year. And because that was so, everybody in the industry was like, well, that's the guy that's going to win. That's it. On paper, it was senseless for me to even think about trying. It was like, well, this guy who was bad as hell. I mean, I'm talking about none other than Victor Martinez. I mean, back then, they called him the Dominican Dominator. There was a time when that was just
They still do.
legitimately, that's what it was. If he showed up, even at like 60%, his 60% was better than like 98% of like the whole, pro kingdom back then. I mean,
Right.
So the idea of going into the show and they said, hey, well, who you got on paper? If you asked anybody back then, I was Mr. Grapefruit guy anyway. So it was always the grapefruit jokes or whatever. And at the end of the day, with that said, nobody would have said, yeah, I think Kai might be there in the running. I think he might actually even, it wasn't even, it was actually 2 weeks after the show that people were still watching the videos and saying, well, you know what? I guess maybe, yeah, maybe. So I don't know, man. It left a permanent mark on me because,
Right.
So you never know. You can't ever say. You just work. And I'm gonna tell you, because back then I remember I went out to LA. I trained at Gold's Gym, living the bodybuilding dream. I invested everything I had that year getting ready for the Arnold Classic. I emptied my bank account. I was done. This was it. This is the rock that I will build my church on, and I'll just deal with everything else that happens
Right.
after that.
Wow.
After that, but make no mistake about it, it wasn't funny to hear that the Dominican Dominator was coming in at that time. And back then, this dude was bulletproof. I remember. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to encourage everybody.
I understand. So Kai, are you a fan of Dr. Mike Israetel? Do you know the gentleman that's been basically trending on YouTube? He's not a bodybuilder, but he has an impressive physique, and he is like very knowledgeable when it comes to science, training, and substances. he made a whole video about you dissecting. It's one
He
of your
did.
older videos. It's the video is basically dissecting how you lift, how you used to eat, how you posed, and he's giving you like major props, saying you did everything 100% correct. Like the whole video is dedicated to you, yeah, yeah. And he's been very popular. I don't know what you think about that guy.
Yo, I've seen a lot of his videos recently. He's become really popular. In fact, I met him once, I think in Las Vegas
Oh, you did?
around Olympia time. Really, really bright and insightful dude. I think he's got a dope kind of wit that is entertaining.
Yeah,
He's got
yeah.
his thing. He's got
He
his
does,
niche.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and just really aware, really aware. I've learned, in fact, I've learned quite a few things watching some of his
Really?
videos and training. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah,
Because
there are things, you know.
he's not a bodybuilder. He's more just a knowledgeable guy.
Yeah, it's funny because you can spend a lifetime training, in the gym and
Right.
moving around in your own fitness journey, and experience the world of that fitness experience. Man, it's so funny because I realize I can't afford to have a big ego about the things that I believe I understand about my training. I just recently have discovered the opportunity to do some other training. And there was a time when I really thought that forget it, not to say I had a big ego, but listen, man, I learned how to build my legs. I learned how to painstakingly, rep after rep, set after set, chosen exercise after chosen exercise, worked and worked to master the form to something that I understood, to sculpt a physique or build a physique that ultimately, was able to stand on the world stage and collect top honors amongst, the best in my business and
Hmm.
industry. Every time that I've allowed myself to be available and to hear other people's point of view and insights related to training, even exercises that I feel like I was just very, very well aware of, and can write books on it myself. Um, I have been surprised to rediscover a whole lot of new opportunity to learn more, and um, uh, I have felt that way when viewing some of the video work that I've seen him do. So shout out to him.
In addition to training, though, right? Like Dr. Mike, and Greg Doucette, and people like they're very popular online. Right? I'm mentioning those two because they're hugely popular. But in addition to training, they very openly talk about substances, steroids. They talk about a variety of things in a very open manner, right? Without
Mhm.
necessarily censorship.
Yeah.
Do you think what is your take on that? Because obviously, I mean, they knowledgeable, I'm sure, right? They're both coaches, they both have experience. But like, do you think opening up about that to the extent because you come from the era where nobody were to even mention things like that, like in an open public forum, right? But they're very
Mm.
open about it. I mean, and it generate a lot of interest. But do you think that's kind of like it could be slightly dangerous or not? Do you think it's a good thing?
I think information is important to have. I think there are different audiences for which information can be more or less appropriate. Um,
All right.
you know, um, the opportunity to have access to information um, is something that you want most of all, particularly when you need it. It's funny because at this stage in my life, you have a lot of people that are dealing with being, slightly older and dealing with, other issues with their
Right.
testosterone, high or low. And, it's become a lot more accessible and
More accepted. It's more accepted too.
a valid and valuable conversation to
Right.
have, and I guess, Yeah, I never want to say that, well, no one should have access to this information. The discussions are real. I think there is something to be said for, being able to identify your audience, how do we protect, an audience that doesn't have any business knowing. I mean, like when I was a kid, there were, when grown folks would talk, they would tell the children to leave the room, up bedtime. When they turn on that red light and that Marvin Gaye come on, hello, somebody about to get pregnant. I mean, well, kids just didn't belong in the room. So, yeah, and I think that the same opportunities exist, I think, in some of the conversations that we have. If it is that we put them in a place that you can go to, obviously, to get that information when you need it, is great. And yeah, I wouldn't discourage it. I guess I would. When I needed some questions answered, it was very comfortable knowing that, oh, is that what that is? Okay,
But that was
yeah.
that was discussed in private though. They openly talking about it on YouTube. That's the only difference.
you know, how many times have you been able to benefit from a conversation that was just open? And
Sure,
even though it wasn't on the forefront of my thoughts, there
sure.
are moments where I just happen to be in passing, and it's like scrolling through your Instagram, and it's like
Right.
that thing that
Yeah.
comes up that's like, oh, is
Yep.
that what that is? Oh, at any other time I might have said, "Hey, this is not appropriate to be here." I wasn't even thinking in those lines, but like now, when that topic comes up with that particular piece of information that applies to
Right.
you, suddenly, you know, um, I'm glad I had that opportunity. I'm glad there are people that are able
Well,
to
there you
talk
go.
very candidly
I was
about some
wondering
of this
how you felt
information.
about it. Yeah, I was wondering. Well,
I
Kyle.
think I think it serves a purpose. I think it serves a purpose, and personally, there are things that I wouldn't want to say publicly. Just in an effort for me to do what I think is responsible for
Sure.
my brand and the trajectory of my career.
Hmm.
You know, but with that said, for people that feel differently and are able to tackle those issues, head on in a way that creates fruit for everybody. uh, I'm, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Uh,
All right, brother. Great seeing you, man. Till next
hey,
time.
likewise. Hey, Vlad, I appreciate having the opportunity. Thank you guys
Of
for
course.
checking in and letting us do what we do. And with that note, I'm going to say to you, if you've been listening, you've been hearing the words and voice of your boy, Vlad Uden and Kai Greene. This has been the Kai Greene Effect, and we are over and out. Peace.